Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to strike the last word, speak in opposition to the bill.
You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. H.R. 3453 claims to empower charter school educators. But what it really does is funnel public dollars into a system that too often lacks oversight, accountability, and transparency. And so this bill would change current law to let federal taxpayer dollars fund pre-planning grants for charter schools that don't even exist yet. Schools that could be started by teachers with just 54 months of experience. It feels arbitrary with no clear rationale provided to me. It also sets aside 3% for a revolving fund for so-called flexible expenses, but the language is broad and the guardrails are weak. And notably, it changes the current requirement that 90% of charter school programs funds go to grantees, lowering it to 80%. And that's not empowering students. To me, it looks like more for consultants and less for classrooms. And now I know what my colleagues on the other side will say, that it's about choice. Well, that is, it's about innovation. But let me tell you what we're seeing in North Carolina. We have charter schools like Children's Village Academy, ordered to repay over $160,000 in misused state and federal funds. We see conflicts of interest and loans to board members, taxpayer dollars spent on furniture for private homes. We have Trinitas Academy, a classical charter school backed by high-ranking Republican officials, now being fast-tracked without ever going through the standard state review process. No interviews, no curriculum review, no financial vetting, just a backdoor budget provision slipped into the General Assembly. And that's not accountability, that's not public service, that's simply privilege. And it's not just Trinitas. The charter sector in North Carolina is riddled with these off-one deals. Schools that serve fewer students, that cherry pick their enrollment and still receive public funds with little oversight. Meanwhile, our traditional public schools, especially in rural and low-income communities, are stretched thin and they're left to pick up the pieces. So let me be clear here. I'm not against charter schools. I've visited some that are doing pretty well. They're doing right. But we should never be in the business of subsidizing inequity, especially now when the administration's budget request is already proposing cuts to everything else. And because while private and charter schools may operate outside certain public mandates, our public schools serve every child who walks through their doors, regardless of disability, regardless of background, regardless of immigration status or zip code. They're bound by IDEA, they're bound by civil rights laws, and they're accountable to parents, to local school boards, and to the public. And so when we divert dollars away from those schools without safeguards, we are starving the very system that serves the majority of our kids. And this bill doesn't add new oversight either. It doesn't close loopholes. It doesn't address existing problems in the charter schools program. But what it does is weaken funding rules and redirect resources in a way that benefits those already who are well connected. And we should be talking about how to strengthen our public school system. We should be investing in teacher pay and school counselors and classroom materials and facilities upgrades in the communities that have long been underfunded. That's what real equity looks like. In Charlotte and across North Carolina, families are asking for schools that they can trust, for educators who are supported, and for transparency in how their tax dollars are used. H.R. 3453 does not deliver on any of those promises, and basically just defunds our public schools. I urge my colleagues to oppose this bill, and with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield.